Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
We're the Village's Newcomers. You know, all kinds of people live in the Villages. And letters we get from time to time ask us, would I be welcome? What kind of people will I encounter there? What's the average age? All are tough questions. So the best thing we can do for you is actually bring people here to meet you. And you can hear them talk, listen to their stories, and find out for yourself who lives here. Today, we are so fortunate. We have two young, active couples, fantastic people. You know, we met them at some of the neighborhood socials, right?
We did. And I thought we were young.
We feel young, but we're not as young as these guys. And we're going to have them tell you their stories in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at what they do around the Villages. What a great look into the day-to-day lives of these people. They were active before they came here, but
Right.
I think coming here, it gives them more outlets for all this energy that they have. And we'd like to welcome them to our show. Glad you're here. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Mac, and this is my wife, Corey, and we're new to the Villages. We moved here a year ago, 2 days ago, actually. So we're 1 year and 2 days here in the Villages. We moved from North Carolina, an area where I had lived my entire life. Corey is originally from New York, and we lived the last few years in North Carolina before moving here.
Okay, hi, I'm Patrick, and this is my wife, Kimberlyn. We are new to the Villages. We've been here just a little over a year. We originally came out from just outside Seattle, Washington, in a city called Kirkland, where Kimberlyn has spent her entire life. I'm originally from Northern California, and for our career, we lived there in Washington and came out here a little over a year ago.
How did you meet?
So I was a firefighter, and every year I would have to go through a physical exam, part of the job. I did this for almost 38 years. Several years back, it was quite a while, I was in an office job, and so I missed a portion of the physical, and I had to travel out of town to be checked out. I met Corey there. She actually was a nurse with the company that we were contracted through.
And what did you think when this guy walked in?
Well, I was just being my professional self, and I didn't bring him back to the area for your stress test right away, but some of the testing that we needed to do after 9/11 to ensure the firefighters were safe, I had to ask a few personal questions. Well, one of the questions that I happened to ask Mac was just very straightforward, and I'm from New York, so I just said, well, you either do or you don't. And so you responded, and then we just kind of got sidetracked on a conversation and realized that we both had similar tragedies. And we became really close friends and corresponded for a while through emails. And I think the first time we were on the phone, it was about 5 hours, only because I couldn't understand a word you said. And but anyway, we decided like almost a year later to go and have coffee, and we met at a park in North Carolina, and we've been together ever since.
Yeah, we lived like an hour and a half, or maybe closer to 2 hours away, so it just worked out like that.
Patrick and I are both retired law enforcement officers. He began his career in Texas, and then lateraled up to the city of Kirkland, Washington, where I was working. And so we met at work.
Were you both patrolmen?
Yeah, we both started out in patrol. We went up through the ranks. Well, I'll let Kimberly talk about that. She outranks me. She was a sergeant. I was a corporal, and then when we retired, I was working for a specialty unit, basically a plainclothes unit, high-risk unit that kind of led to our retiring a little bit earlier than we initially planned. Well, initially myself, when I was younger, not quite when the villages started, but because we are pretty young, but I saw a commercial on the villages, and it just always piqued my interest. We initially were planning on retiring in the Austin, Texas area where my family's at. Looked it up, saw that there's lifestyles visits. We were like, hey, let's try it. Worst case scenario, we have a week vacation in Florida. Little did we know we got here, and just amazing. Everything we wanted, from the activities to the live music, the weather, and we were just hooked. And then we came back roughly 3-4 months later. We did another lifestyles visit, and I think a couple weeks after that we bought our house.
I think when we had talked about retiring, we had agreed to move to somewhere warm, and Florida was one of the places I'd like to go because I love manatees, I love Mickey Mouse, I love Jimmy Buffett. So when Patrick mentioned, hey, there's this community called The Villages, I thought it would be just a bunch of old people, but I was willing to come down here for a visit and just rule it out. And I had no idea how instantly we would fall in love with this place. It is so beautiful and clean, and the people are so friendly. And I mean, it's landscape from one end to the other. It's like resort living. And it was just almost culture shock from where we had been living. And then you throw on all of the activities and like Pat said, the weather, and we stopped looking anywhere else, and we just decided this is it.
Yeah, it's not old people. I mean, this is a
right.
place where people come to live. I mean, whether I play Division I softball, I have guys that are 76 years old that I'm like, wow, they're amazing. But then again, there is like you said, we're in the southern area. It's a younger area, so there is people our age to interact with, but all ages. It's kind of like here, it just seems like age doesn't matter. Everybody, it's just a very open, friendly place.
So we had actually talked about it. Mac had 37 years in at the time that we came down on our lifestyle visit, and we were exploring some of the Hilton Head properties or the Sun City. And we did not like that. It just felt much, much older. It was beautiful, but it was just not for us. And really just trying to decide how soon he was going to retire. And my job at the hospital went remote. So we did some research, and we had never heard about the Villages before. And we started watching the videos, and we were watching the live cams and seeing everything that went on in the squares. So we called up and we booked our lifestyle visit. And we were here last August, and we absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, it was so incredibly amazing and especially post-COVID and so many other things that were going on, just to see people out living life and celebrating and living healthy and running and biking and playing pickleball and tennis and swimming and archery and shooting and and the dancing and the food, and just a lot of people that wanted to live and celebrate the best years of their life instead of just sitting in a rocker and growing old. So so we loved our visit. We came home, we put our house on the market, and you put your retirement papers in, and we were here 6 weeks later. Yeah, we were here 6 weeks later.
Like Corey had said, we had looked at some similar properties in North and South Carolina, but nothing compared. And once we found this place, it was like we literally on the drive home, because we had about 8 hours in the car, and we had some conversations because we were all over the place. But we knew that if we were going to make the move, now would be the time to do it. And so we did. No regret. 6 weeks later, we were here.
And we met friends too while we were here.
We did. We actually met some people while we were here on our lifestyle visit that we were able to stay in touch with. And it's just been, when we got here, I took about 3 months. I didn't do anything. I had to acclimate to retiring from a career that I had had since basically I was 19 years old. It's all I ever really knew. And so after that, though, I went in to do some stuff and ultimately worked for the rec department for a couple of months, and then went to work where I currently work for the village's fire department as a PET. They call us a public education technician. So when you need your batteries changed in your smoke detector, or your smoke detectors changed because they're too old, I would be one of the people to do that, as well as teach CPR classes for the neighborhood defibrillator programs such as that. So it's pretty interesting to be involved in all this. And it gets me back in an area where I was familiar with in the past. It makes me feel more at home, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're living in the village of Citrus Grove, loving it. I mean, it's got these trails that are amazing. We both bike, jog. We're out all the time walking our dog. And it's just, the outdoor life is what we really love.
We love it. And it's so beautiful. The woods, the trails, there's just everything.
Yeah.
We can get home from work, play pickleball. We go to the fit clubs in the morning, and we get our exercise in before work, and it's great. Yeah.
Patrick, you guys are moving into your second home in the Villages, and you've only lived here a year.
And at the end of the month, we'll be living in the village of Monarch Grove, moving from village of St. Catherine.
That's going to be really awesome, because you'll be living right there by the prison when people break out.
That is true. We look forward to that.
How did your family feel about you moving here?
So that has been a little bit difficult for me. My friends and family have all been supportive because they know that Patrick and I were so excited about moving here, but I'm very homesick, so I do a really good job of keeping in touch with everybody, calling, video calls, and then I go home for visits, stay with family members for a week, and that really helps a lot. I do actually have one family member that came to visit from Oregon, and she was so excited about being here. She bought a house that week, and so she's moved here now too, and that helps a lot.
All of my family, they were very supportive. They were happy to know that we were moving here. Corey's parents, the same thing. Corey's parents lived in a community similar, but much smaller in New York, and are still there, and they've been thriving as far as with friends and activities, and we knew that we wanted to live that type of life, and our family was very supportive of that. My friends, of course, they're giving me a hard time for retiring and moving so far away, but we're completely supported by everyone we know and love, and feel very thankful to be here.
Can you tell us about your life here in the Villages? Maybe give us a typical day.
Our days are very, very busy.
Yeah.
So we're usually up around 5:30 every day. We're at the gym at the Fit Club at Izell, usually about 6:30. Come back, and we do have a dog too. So we're busy with him. Leave the house for work around 7:45-ish.
Yeah.
And we try to have lunch together 2 days a week. So we'll meet for lunch, and we come home and take care of Otis. And then after work, we're busy with him. And then we're cycling, we're playing pickleball. We're, just going over to the squares, grabbing something to eat. We do a lot of our cooking at home. We like to eat at home. Mac's a really good cook. So, and not too much. I mean, we get together with friends during the week, and we're pretty busy on the weekends catching up with things, but we stay active. So, and we have our church, and like this morning we watched online because we did have a busy day and getting together with friends, but it's great.
Yeah.
We used to commute 2 and 3 hours. We used to commute 2 and 3 hours a day. So now it makes a big difference that we don't do that.
Difference. 15 minutes is nothing.
For us, kind of like Mac and Corey, I mean, we have a pretty busy day too. We get up early. We both still have part-time jobs because we retired so young. I work part-time at United Parcel Service. Kimberlyn works for the Villages, just for benefits purposes. But typical day, it could vary if it's depending on the days. I get up, I'll play softball, usually one game, most time two, but play softball or we're playing pickleball. Water volleyball is 3 times a week. Kimberlyn is a volunteer. She's a volunteer diver with Zoo Tampa, so she goes down there and cleans the manatee tanks and does that kind of stuff, which she absolutely loves. And then in our spare times, usually spent going to friends' house. We have game nights. We have a good core family tribe in our neighborhood. We have an outstanding village, but it's usually game night or dinners or going to Edna's. But just very busy days. But your days could be as busy or as mundane as you like. But yeah, it's just packed full of activities with a little bit of work in there.
We like to take advantage of the live music here, and sometimes they'll have a great band at the square, but we've also found that different restaurants have some bands that we like to follow. And then we've also been to some concerts, like Land Sharks is a Jimmy Buffett cover group, and then there was a Queen cover group that we went to, and it's really fun. A lot of dancing.
I couldn't help but notice what you just said, and it transitioned me into a new show. Watch Jerry and Linda scrub a manatee.
No touching. It is a lifelong dream of mine that I'm now making into a reality. It's crazy. For the villages, I am presently a sales assistant to 3 sales representatives, and then working my way towards my real estate license.
So I also work for the villages, and Mac works for the villages. So I'm a nurse and a health educator. I'm also a health coach. So
If you have any more children, they can go to the village's school.
That, yeah.
no, they're grown.
What would you say is your favorite thing about living here?
To me, it's the life. I mean, just the life of the people and the activities. And there's like when you get up in the morning really early, people are already out. They're running, they're walking, they're biking, there's movement, there's life in the neighborhood. That's wonderful. I personally love the weather. I like hot weather. I grew up liking the hot weather. Thunderstorms and rain in the afternoon goes right along with me. And so I love that component. Everywhere you look, there's nature. My dad was a state park ranger for like 35 years in North Carolina. So he taught me about snakes and lizards and frogs and birds and all this growing up. And I lost him several years ago. And when I see the wildlife around here, I know how he would react to it. And I feel like he's seeing it through my eyes, because it's just wonderful to see all that. And Corey is a great photographer. I mean, she takes pictures.
Thank you.
She takes pictures of all these animals and captures them. Really good shots.
So I do. I love I just love the opportunity, because even this time of the year, even after dinner, we could just run down to Marsh Bend and do pitch and putt. Yesterday, we drove our golf cart up to Publix, and we grabbed our groceries, and then we were out and about, and it's just, life is just smooth.
And the way
Not always, but it's for the majority, it is smooth.
The way that our house is situated, we're facing west, which, yeah, it's hot on the lanai, but we get the most beautiful sunsets for free every night. Every night. And if we look out the back windows, we have a clear shot to see the sunrise. So we get a double dose of sun, and we love it. Yeah. We love sitting out on the lanai watching the sun. Most of our pictures are sunset pictures.
I think our favorite part of living in the villages is the sense of community. I know that in St. Catharines, we moved in all all of our neighbors all moved in at the same time. And so whether it was, hey, can I borrow a ladder? Or do you know anything about fixing this garage door for me? We just help each other all the time. And we've developed some pretty great friendships in the last year. That's made it a little bit difficult for us to move, but we found a house we like so much better. And so I had to tell our neighbors, even though we're not neighbors, we're still and always going to be friends.
Yeah.
So,
and I agree with Mac. It's just the lifestyle. I mean, like he says, here everything is moving early in the morning. I mean, this is the first place. If you're on time, you're late.
yeah.
So, but it's just a lifestyle. I love the wildlife myself. The sandhill cranes.
Yeah.
Just the playing softball. I love doing that. The activities here, golf, sports is what I grew up doing. So I just love all the activities. But it's just a beautiful place. I haven't met I know they're here, but I haven't met a rude person yet. So everybody's so friendly, helpful.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. When they say it's too good to be true,
It really is true.
You know, I always say about the villages, it's 60,000, 70,000 homes, you know, just like homes anywhere. It's the people here that make the difference. You know, so many neat people of varied backgrounds, and we all come together here, and to me, that's the best thing. One thing that was difficult for us was getting new resources, finding doctors, finding dentists, those kinds of things. Have you been able to do that?
So we actually have our first appointment with our new provider in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
So we're a little bit nervous about that. We had providers that we loved back home in North Carolina. But when I relocated from New York, I found good physicians, and I'm sure I'll find good physicians here.
So we've discovered that we really do like the village's health. When I first got here, I went to a doctor's office that was outside of the bubble, if you will, and I was not very impressed. And it wasn't until we went to the village's health that we have both realized we really like the health care that we've received.
and dentist also.
And our dentist.
Our dentist is fantastic.
Yep.
How do you all feel about the cost of living here?
Coming from the West Coast, coming from the Seattle area, obviously, well, not obviously, but Seattle was very high cost of living. So coming here, even though in the last year we've seen prices going higher and higher, but it's definitely a lot more affordable. The housing here, what you get for your money is, you get a lot more here from our experience.
I think we feel like the cost of living here is pretty comparable to North Carolina, but maybe a bit less expensive overall. Honey, what do you think about that?
I don't know.
She's the money guru here. I
Yeah,
have to let her be the
I'm
one.
the money guru. So the salaries were definitely more in North Carolina
Yeah,
than they are here. So I think with the supply chain issues, of course, things are more expensive, but I think honestly it just washes out.
Yeah, pretty comparable.
I mean, we have a small home, so I mean, all of the expenses are much more manageable than they were
Yeah.
when we were in North Carolina, but we had a much larger home.
Do you belong to any clubs or organizations? Have you found that certain group of people that you like to hang with?
I do belong to the Village's Working Women's Social Group, so we meet once a month over at the Eisenhower Rec Center, and it's real nice. We have different speakers come in, and it's super casual, and you meet a lot of great women who are still working, and you don't feel alone. So.
Well, we've done a lot with the Division I softball, which is great. The social activity is not just on the field, but outside. They have gatherings, bingo, trivia nights. But I've recently joined the Parrot Head Club. I'm very excited about that.
So, and then we also have, it's a group called the Red, White, and Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We meet with them. It's usually once a month. They go to the fire pit. It's firefighters, medical professionals, law enforcement, and it's just a matter of get together.
And tell lies.
And like Max said, retiring young, you're still trying to transition out of that lifestyle into this lifestyle. So kind of, you could bounce off each other and you're not alone out there.
We didn't realize it at the time we selected you and you agreed to come and visit with us, but we feel pretty honored because we have some people of service here, some first responders. We have 2 police officers, we have a firefighter, and we have a nurse. It's a big move, leaving your homes, coming all the way across the country or down from New York, from North Carolina. Do you have any regrets?
None at all. We're so happy we moved here when we did.
Yeah, and in fact, with the job that I have, I meet people every day, many, many wonderful people every day. And one of the things that I hear often is they wish they had moved here 10 years earlier because they feel like they've missed out on so much.
Well, that was fun.
That was very fun. What charming couples they are.
They are neat people and very, very representative of the kind of people that you'll meet here. They all live south of 44 in what we call the Southern Oaks area, I guess. But that actually encompasses a great many villages down there. But so nice of them to take time out of their day and come and share with us. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
If you liked our video today, please press that like and subscribe button and share it with all your friends. Until next time.
See you when you get here.